Welcome back. This week we'll be running the machine learning models against UFC Vegas 108 and placing bets wherever they tell me to. This card has 11 fights on it, and I just barely got all of the bets in after a late change to the main event. As always, let's recap last week's results before we get started. Starting off on Saturday morning with UFC Abu Dhabi, where the underdogs stole the show. We cashed in on a few of those, which would usually make for a good night. Unfortunately, the current betting strategy is heavy-handed on favorites, and that bit me hard this week. The current 1+ betting strategy allows me to operate with a very small bankroll and makes good use of my book's reward program. But there is one drawback. It is possible to lose a lot of the bankroll on one fight. 20% or more is possible when betting a big favorite. I can't believe that I'm actually thankful to only have lost 6 units on this card. Later that night was LFA 213, where I was able to find 3 plays. We won 2 out of the 3, losing the only underdog wager on the event. I came out ahead by 1.3 units, and it made me feel a little bit better about the whole day. As always, we finished the weekend by accepting the weekly bonus. This time it brought 0.9 units of joy, closing out the bankroll just shy of 260, setting this week's unit size to 2.6. We will be starting off this card with a strawweight bout between Piera Rodriguez and Ketlen Souza. These two are what you'd expect for this division. Piera is 3-2 in the UFC, while Souza is 2-2. They only have a single stoppage between them since entering the promotion, but they have both suffered a stoppage loss, so there is a small chance for something exciting. The prediction models see this very close to a coin flip, but all three do lean towards Souza. Close underdogs in women's MMA just feel like the smart play. I've placed a 1.5 unit wager on Ketlen Souza as a plus 168 underdog. Last time the models picked Souza, she lost to a 40-year-old Angela Hill, so we're hoping for a better result this time. The second fight of the card is a flyweight matchup between Rafael Estevam and Felipe Bunes. Estevam is still undefeated at 13-0, while Bunes, with a 60% win rate, was able to sneak into the UFC, where he has since gone 1-1. At the books, this is nearly a foregone conclusion, but all three models have it much closer. In February, we lost money betting on Estevam at very similar odds. The models do not plan to make that mistake again. I have placed a 6.88 unit bet on Rafael Estevam at minus 460. Our next matchup will see Rodolfo Vieira take on Tresean Gore at middleweight. These two both entered the UFC as undefeated fighters. Vieira has a record of 5-3 since 2019, while Gore is 2-3 since his debut in 2022. There is a clear gap in experience here, even though the models almost completely disregard it. Again, the book seems a bit more confident than the models, but all three do agree. My money is on Vieira at minus 215 for 3.22 units. Every previous bet involving either of these two has been correct. This one shouldn't be any different. Back down at the lighter weights for our next bout involving Nathan Fletcher and Rinya Nakamura at 135. Wow, the current bantamweight models attribute a lot of importance to age. It's nearly 40% here, when seeing 30% is rare. The age gap between these two probably isn't a determining factor in this fight, but something is keeping the predictions very close. Fletcher does have the favor of one of the models, but he screwed us over last time. 3.72 units on Rinya Nakamura as a minus 372 favorite. To close out the prelims, we'll be going back up to middleweight, where Klein will be fighting Andrey Pulyaev. This is a battle of two Contender Series winners. Both went on to lose their debut. Klein was finished in the second round, while Pulyaev lost a unanimous decision. These fights were 5 to 6 months ago, and the models correctly predicted both of them. This time, the predictions are right in line with the books and lean ever so slightly towards Pulyaev. I've put down a 1.92 unit bet on Andrey Pulyaev at minus 128. The main card opener will be a featherweight matchup between Danny Silva and Kevin Vallejos. We've got two more Contender Series winners here, and these guys actually have wins. Silva is 2-0 in the UFC, taking home 2 split decision wins and missing weight in his debut. Vallejos is only 1-0, but was able to earn a first-round KO and is currently on a 4-fight finish streak. We were able to correctly predict both of these fighters' past wins, but the models aren't super confident this time around. For me, nothing changes. 2 models on a minus 500 favorite looks to return 1 unit with a win, so I've risked 5 units on Kevin Vallejos. Next up, we have the much-anticipated Unk fight between Magny and Elizeu Zaleski. With the way these middle-aged men have been fighting lately, we are in for a show. These two are legit veterans of the sport. Zaleski has 17 UFC fights dating back to 2015, and Magny entered the promotion in 2013 and has since fought 34 times. We have successfully bet against Zaleski in the past, and the models are looking to do it again. I picked up Magny as a plus 178 underdog for 1.5 units. Right after the barbecue brawl, we'll get to see Nora Cornolle take on Karol Rosa at bantamweight. Rosa is the younger fighter and she has more experience, but she's lost 3 out of her last 5. Cornolle has missed weight in 2 of her 4 UFC fights and only lost when she made weight. Is it wrong to hope that she sacrifices 20% of her purse? The models have me betting Nora Cornolle for 1 unit as a plus 167 underdog. Until I can manage to make a graph to prove myself wrong, close underdogs on women's MMA are top tier profit. After cashing another coin flip, I'm hoping to see Esteban Ribovics and Elves Brener compete in a good old-fashioned chin test. I know they're both good on the ground, but they show fight of the night potential if it stays on the feet. Even though one of the predictions is at 65%, there still isn't agreement between all 3 models. The money is on the minus 260 favorite Esteban Ribovics, but it'll only be for 2.6 units. The co-main event on this card will be Mateusz Rebecki versus Chris Duncan at lightweight. These two are very similar. Chris does have a size advantage, but the models don't think that height and reach really matter that much. They are the same age, both are 4-1 in the UFC, and they both have a ton of finishes, mostly in the first 2 rounds. They've each suffered a stoppage loss in the UFC, so an early finish could be on the books. All 3 models like the underdog in this matchup, so I've put 1.5 units on Chris Duncan. Last but not least, we've got the late replacement main event, where Hyun-Sung Park steps up on less than a week's notice to fight Tatsuro Taira. Park was scheduled to fight Steve Erceg the following week, so this isn't some crazy move. But Taira is 4 spots higher in the rankings than Erceg, so it might be a smart one. As I'm recording this, my book finally dropped odds for this fight. I picked up Tatsuro Taira as a minus 260 favorite for 3.9 units. It just barely happened in time, but I was able to place a bet on each of the 11 fights on this card. 7 of the 11 were on favorites, only 4 of those were confident predictions by the models. The other 4 wagers were on underdogs, and of those, incredibly, 3 of them are confident. Honestly, though, that kind of tracks after last week's card. In total, the models have me risking 32.69% of the bankroll on this card, for a maximum return of 18.29 units of profit. Compared to the past UFC cards, this is a small percentage of the bankroll to be risking. PFL hasn't soaked up much more, and I only have a couple of opportunities on one championship when those lines drop. If you want all of the plays for this week, check out the Patreon. Thanks for watching. Good luck on all of your bets this weekend.